Welcome back. You're watching Investors Guide on ET Now. This is our year-ender Christmas special. So Merry Christmas to those of you who just tuned in. Kumar is with us in our Delhi studio. I must confess, of all the portfolios we have on this show, this one is my personal favorite because we designed it for someone who's 45 years old, but it tends to suit the needs of so many other investors. And it's given us a total return of 8.77%. This is our stable growth portfolio with only 4 balanced funds, which means it's so easy to manage. I'm going to go over that list. The Kanhaiya Robeco Balance, the HDFC Prudence, ICICI Prudential Balanced Advantage, and Reliance Regular Savings Balanced. The interesting thing about this portfolio is that even though it's not aggressive, the returns are so close to our aggressive portfolios. Do you find that impressive, or does it make you a little nervous?
No, I'm very impressed with this portfolio. And in fact, 4.5, 5 years back, I did not have as much belief in or conviction in this structure. But now I find that, this is very impressive. The key benefit which is derived in this fund is you have 30% allocation to fixed income, and you have this periodic rebalancing which is happening. Looking at the simplicity, the scale of diversification, the skill which is derived, I think this is wonderful, and the returns are very impressive. I'll be very happy if I'm able to derive 1.5 times more than the long-term return derived from equity. At the same time, it helps me well on the downside. For example, HDFC Prudence, for its the complexion of the equity portfolio is something which can be very scary for somebody who is getting started. So one has to be a little careful on that front, but as a portfolio, the stable growth portfolio has been able to withstand all kind of turbulence in the last 4.5 years very nicely.
All right, our stable growth portfolio is a stellar portfolio that's done so well, 8.77% returns on a portfolio with just 4 balanced funds. I'm going to give you a recap of those names. There's the Kanhaiya Robeco Balanced, HDFC Prudence, ICICI Prudential Balanced Advantage, and Reliance Regular Savings. All right, let's move on to our conservative portfolio. Now, this portfolio has given us returns of about 7% over the last 4.5 years. This was designed for someone who's very close to retirement with about 4 or 5 years to go, who'd want to basically keep the capital safe. I'm going to give you a list of funds in this portfolio: the FT India Dynamic PE ratio, the HDFC MIP Long Term, and the Reliance MIP. Dhirendra, we invested so far 5.5 lakh rupees in this portfolio. It's currently at 6.5 lakh rupees. So is that enough of a profit to justify what we were trying to do with this portfolio? Has that really managed to play out the way you wanted it to?
No, I would have been happier because one is assuming far lesser risk, and it just has about 35 to 40% allocation to equity. So this portfolio should not have hurt, and the 60% into fixed income should have yielded much more. So in that sense, this portfolio, despite its reasonable return, is a little disappointing. And I think we can really trace the reason for that disappointment. These funds are very expensive. The higher expenses of the 2 MIPs that we have. These funds are 85% fixed income, 15% into equity, and their expenses are as much like an equity fund, something like 2.5%, 3%. So we have to wait for the market turnaround for something good to happen. Otherwise, by next year we will take a call. If expenses don't come down on these MIPs, which means that MIP should not be part of any individual investor's portfolio.
All right, so we're disappointed with the expenses on an MIP. So basically, if you also have an MIP in your portfolio, you need to be asking yourself if you want to pay about 2.5% for someone to manage something that's largely debt. I'm going to give you a recap of these of the funds in this portfolio, and remember, we're going to be watching how it does over the next 6 months or so to decide whether we want to switch over those MIPs into something else. We have the FT India Dynamic PE ratio, the HDFC MIP Long Term, and the Reliance MIP that forms our conservative portfolio. We're going to take another quick break here. Coming up after that break, we will talk about our income growth portfolio that was designed for someone who's already retired, and our interesting experiment of picking low-cost funds and finding out if that increases your return. That's coming back on the other side. Don't go anywhere.